What's up, gang? It's Tuesday. It's best against the spread. It's week 10. Can you believe it? It's week 10. And damn, do we have a slate this upcoming week? It's been pretty rough goings, if we're being totally honest, the last couple of weeks, but we got a good one this week. Super excited to talk about it. Super excited to bring in Matt LaMarca, the guru, Big Saxy, and the COVID-ridden Joe Holka, who is alive and doing better, but just riddled with the Rona. Matt, I would like to ask you how you're doing, but let's talk to Impatient Zero here. Well, how you feeling, Joe? What's up, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it's kind of weird because it took like 3 days to actually get my test, and then it takes like another 3 days to get your results. So like by the time I actually found out this morning, like this is the best I've felt in like over a week. So I'm doing good. Obviously nothing to laugh about or anything like that, but yeah, thanks for holding it down on Sunday morning, guys, and thanks for holding it down on Thursday, LaMarca, with Peter. So I needed to take a couple of shows off, save the voice a little bit, but feeling good today. Feeling good about this slate. I think that it's really nice to have some afternoon games as well. So it'll be a good week overall. My Cardinals are playing the Bills, so me and Leone are going to have some fights on the tilt space. But outside of that, man, couldn't be more excited to get to week 10.
Here on the afternoon games. LaMarca, you were saying before the show started that there's more afternoon games than like regular 1 p.m. slots. When was the last time that happened? Do you have that stat for us?
No. Apparently it does happen occasionally on week 17 because they don't want to give anyone the scheduling advantage whenever possible. But other than that, I can't recall it. My man Andrew Siciliano, aka the DirecTV NFL Red Zone guru, he can't remember. So if he doesn't know,
Team Josh Hansen.
Yeah, I'm totally a Team Hansen guy. I can't.
Is it Josh Hansen or John Hansen?
John.
Okay, I'm gonna call him Josh from now on. But yeah, I'm definitely Team
like
Hansen.
Kevin to me.
Yeah.
I'm being totally honest.
He's the best.
Yeah, big fan of the Hansen. And I do appreciate that they're now calling the full slate of games and the points that you can score, total points, the Hansen. Like that has become part of the betting nomenclature, and I love it. Or as LaMarca would tell me, you love to see it. Let's get into Thursday Night Football. This is a good one. It might be a little bit messy to watch, but when you're talking AFC South, which is in its rightful place on Thursday night, this is as good as it gets. Phillip Rivers, Ryan Tannehill, Colts, and Titans. This game opened at 2 with a 50.5 point total. We've now seen it move to about 1.5, 2 in some places with a 48.5 point total. Let's start with you, Matt LaMarca. You've been high on the Colts all year. Are you doubling down?
I honestly have no idea what to make of either of these teams. They both feel like they should be better than they are. Last week's game for the Colts was just a heartbreaker. You had Baltimore scoring on a scoop, on a fumble, where Phillip Rivers just literally tripped over his own 2 feet. I don't know if you guys have seen this replay, but
That's incredible.
The least athletic play you will see on a football field this year. They also, Rivers got called for a pick on one of the most questionable interceptions I've ever seen in my life.
I'm still flabbergasted about that. What the hell was that, Matt LaMarca?
I don't know. But I will say, you look at a 14-point differential in that contest, and I never felt like Indy was getting, their doors blown off. So I still think that their defense is good. Meanwhile, Tennessee, what happened to them? They're a team that was an offensive juggernaut. They did end up beating the Bears last week, but yeah, everybody beats the Bears.
Thanks, man. Let's just crap all over my hometown of Chicago, who, by the way, would be glad to agree with you. They hate that team with a fiery passion. I can't blame them. Let me ask you this more specifically, then.
Yeah.
Can the Colts stop Derrick Henry? And if that goes down, do you like their chances in this game?
Yeah, Indy is a top 5 defense against the run and against the pass. We saw that the main reason that the Titans were so successful was that the Bears, even though they have a good defense, they're not particularly good against play action, and they can be vulnerable against the run. And those are the two things that Tennessee does really well. So I think the Colts should be able to find success on the defensive side. It's getting harder and harder every single week to trust this offense. Jonathan Taylor has not lived up to the billing, and Phillip Rivers, just stinks at this point.
He's not. Yeah, it's over. It's over for old Phillip. Joe, what are you thinking about this Colts offense? Because man, yeah, everybody's just stacking the box against Taylor, as LaMarca was just alluding to. Phillips dropping it down even further on the throws than he used to. I think he's somehow a submarine pitcher now. It's pretty tough to watch, and I don't think Jacoby Brissett is the answer, but we're teetering on that territory a little bit here, no?
Good old Phil Rivers, man. Just watching him fall backwards, attempting to maybe not make that tackle, but kind of make that tackle. That was just really impressive stuff. And I don't have anything to say yet about the game, but like one of the things that like when I played hockey, that you'll come out to block a shot, it's very obvious if you're actually trying to block the shot because you will get in the way. But the best, like I guess people in terms of like being a skill player and like you kind of just get out of the way so that puck doesn't hit you. That one felt like to me like I really don't want to tackle this guy, but I need to try and show people that I'm trying to tackle this guy. So I don't know. I just can't. I understand how good this Colts defense is, all that stuff. There's just so much offensively LaMarca hit on that I think that it's really hard to get behind it. I would just like to thank the NFL for not putting Derrick Henry on the main slate. That'll save me a little bit of money. So that'll be great. A couple things as I was looking into this, though. Like I guess one reason to kind of stay away from the Colts outside of just Phil Rivers, 2-7 straight up in the past 9 road games. So 3-5-1 against the spread over that period. So the Colts also 3-11 straight up in their past 14 primetime games. Not that those, I don't think LaMarca likes those trends either. He doesn't like the monthly trends, doesn't like the primetime trends, but there you are. The Titans also kind of over the last at least 4 home games, 3-1, both straight up and against the spread. So I'm on the Titans in this one. I guess I'm trying to be short on a good old Phil Rivers.
Yeah, no, I think that that's probably the right play. At the same time, I just don't want to buy into Tennessee. I have a hard time saying that that's, pardon me, an elite team and a good defense. I'm interested to see what happens there. I'm going to take the under in this game more than anything else. I don't think that Indianapolis is going to put up buku points, but I really don't think Tennessee is. And honestly, if I said anything had to break in this game, Tennessee's defense is not good. And I think that might be the narrative coming out of this one. Still more likely that neither of these teams really blow the doors open. So I'll take the under on this one, but fascinated to see if this line moves anymore because there might be some value in that. Road underdogs this season, by the way, guys, are killing it. They're at like 55. It was at one point looking like it was going to be towards 60%. They're absolutely killing it this year. And Tom Brady, coming off of whatever the hell that was on Sunday Night Football, is a road underdog at Carolina. Tampa Bay at Carolina, 6-point favorites. I'm sorry. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. We'll talk about road underdogs later. I'm a moron. Forget me. It's 7 a.m. here. Leave me alone. Tom Brady's a 6-point favorite at Carolina. I'm going to stop talking. We're going to throw it to Joe Holka.
Yeah, this is this is an interesting one. I actually like after like seeing what he did on primetime, I'm just tempted on principle bet Tampa Bay here, just because people would just want to bury Tom Brady after that performance. We were hoping to get this like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, just like fantastic game. Just obviously didn't happen. I think it's an interesting game. I think that I am on the Tampa side just because I think people are just going to have recency bias there. We'll see if we get Christian McCaffrey back. He had a banged up shoulder. It looked like he was going to be out again. Now it's looking a little bit more positive that it won't be anything too long term. But we'll see in terms of that one. I don't think the Bucs come out here post another dud. I think the Panthers kind of a letdown spot overall after kind of pushing Kansas City to the brink last week. So I want to be on the Tampa Bay side of this, just to at least be on the side of, or at least the sharper side, I think, of recency bias.
Matt, can Carolina get enough pressure on Tom Brady to make this game interesting?
I don't know if they'll necessarily get enough pressure on Tom Brady. I think if Carolina is going to win or cover this game, it's going to be behind their offense. Tampa Bay's defense has gotten a lot of love this year. I know that I've given them a lot of love. We have really respected them on this show, but they got trounced last week by New Orleans. They got the slant god back in the lineup, and that offense looked, what we expected them to be all year. So to go to Joe's point about the recency bias, 68% of the bets, 69% of the dollars in this game so far landing
Whoa.
on Carolina.
Nice.
So the public, at least early in the week, does not feel good about backing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers laying, less than a touchdown. The interesting angle here that I'm looking at is the over. This line has already been just hammered. It was at 47, up to 50.5 at this point. So I do think that despite what Tampa showed last week, they're going to be fine offensively. We know that Tom Brady can put up points with all of those weapons. And the Carolina offense has been pretty sneakily good this year. So I think the over might be the interesting play here.
Matt, do you think that there's anything that we can glean from the fact that, yes, the money's coming in on Carolina and the number of bets are coming in on Carolina, and yet this line hasn't moved, just the total? Like, is the book saying, come on?
We're talking a very small number of bets.
Okay, so do you expect the line to move?
Bets.
Would you expect Tampa to get up to -7?
Not the way things are looking currently, no. They would have to either start getting a majority of the public bets, or there would have to be some sharp activity on Tampa. And, as of Tuesday, we don't have any of that yet. So it'll be a situation to monitor. I'm not going out on a limb and saying that's going to happen. The jump from 6 to 7 is a significant jump. So the book will be hesitant to go there unless they absolutely have to.
Okay. All right. Let's get back on track here with a garbage game. This is where I just absolutely live. This is my wheelhouse, so we're back on track. Philadelphia, Carson Wentz. New York, Daniel Jones. Coming off of a win. I mean, damn, the Giants are hot. Philadelphia is a 3.5-point favorite in New York. No crowd. 44.5-point total. This is the kind of gross football that we expect from the NFC East. And that's up. It used to be a 41-point total. I mean, we've already seen this bad boy jump by a field goal and a half. Let's start with you, Joe. Are we buying in on the Giants being competent after back-to-back competent performances?
Not really. I don't know. I'm not really buying it. I don't think they've really showed us anything that would just make us think that they're going to be like are they even like in the play? Like, is it even in play for them to win this division, even though it's so bad? I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like it to me. Sorry, as I was kind of going through this game overall, like you've noticed that the Eagles have won 10 of the past 11 games against the Giants. They're 5-6 against the spread in those games. So I don't know. If you go back to week 7, the Eagles failed to cover 5-point favorites against New York. So maybe that's a spot where the Giants have finally taken control of this division. Someone's going to come in and take control of it. Who knows who it's going to be. This just seems like a kind of a gross game overall, probably a stay away for me. Normally when I guess like can't exactly figure out, it's probably just an underplay for me, even though I know it's not a huge total or anything like that. But the Giants have been terrible at home, 3-11 straight up and against the spread in their past 14 games. So I think if I had to pick a side, probably be the Eagles, but I don't feel great about it.
Philadelphia has a pretty good defensive line, Matt, and Daniel Jones does not do well against just people trying to hurt him, basically, unless you have a completely inept coordinated performance like we saw with Washington last week. Or Philadelphia is going to get to Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones is going to stink in this game, right?
I mean, Washington's got a pretty good defensive line. I would say better than Philly's.
I don't know what the hell happened there. Let's call that a one-off.
I would say that this Giants team is being a little bit disrespected right now.
Whew.
Let's go through their results here. All right. Last week they won.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, 2-point loss to the Bucs. Week prior, 1-point loss to Philly.
Yep.
Another win, then a 3-point loss to Dallas, an 8-point loss to the Rams. They got their doors blown off by the 49ers, 4-point loss to the Bears, and they lost by 10 to the Steelers. So this team has 2 losses this season of double-digit points. This is not a inept football team. They probably should have won that game in Philly against the Eagles.
They should have.
So now I can get them as 3.5-point home underdogs. I think that anytime you have bad teams like this, grabbing the points almost always makes sense. I fell into that trap last week. I thought that the Washington defensive line would control that game. But the Sharps are like, nope, these are two bad teams. I want the points. They took the points and they won the game. The only concern that I have is that the Eagles are coming off of a bye last week, so they could be getting a little bit healthier. You know that I love my trend about the buying favorites coming off of the bye.
Yeah.
That said, this year that hasn't exactly worked out. We're just 4-8 with favorites in that situation. Still very profitable trend in the long term, but this year it hasn't been great. So I still think that getting the Giants with the key half-point number here makes a lot of sense. If it was Philly -3, I would be much less interested in grabbing the Giants with just the field goal. But being that I'm getting the hook as well, I think the Giants are a nice play here.
How do you feel about this total, which has gone from 41 to 44.5?
Yeah, I think these teams can put up points in optimal situations. And I mean, neither of these teams are particularly good defensively. I do think the Giants have been better than most people thought. I kind of laughed when they paid James Bradbury all that money in the offseason, and he has legitimately been one of the better corners in the league this season.
No doubt.
I just, I think I have much more interest in the Giants as a side than I do on the total, but I can see why it has risen. 41, which is what the opening number was. That's just so low for a game in 2020.
Way too low. I'm with you. In fact, I'd take the over on this one and always take the points when you got two teams where I don't know the difference. I mean, I'm not buying in on Philadelphia. I think they're the class of that division, but that's not saying much. All right, now we can talk about the guy that we need to talk about, Jake Luton, whatever the hell his name is. He looked damn good. In his first start, and now he's getting 2 touchdowns on the road at Green Bay. Who wants to do it? Who wants to take Jacksonville? Anybody?
Not
Nobody?
me.
I don't think I can do it.
I might do it.
The betting numbers here are interesting. It's 50-50 in terms of the ticket count right now. So the public's with you, Dieter.
It's a 14-point spread.
They like them some Luton, but Ptonsky. Rodgers, though, getting a slight edge here in terms of the spread dollars. 68% landing on the Packers. The Packers actually fit a few trends for me, which is weird because normally I associate trends with you're going to be betting on the underdog, you're going to be betting on the bad teams, but you've got Rodgers coming off of essentially the mini bye. Yeah. He's 15-7-2 in that situation. Wow. You've got Rodgers as a home favorite, 51-30-3 against the spread throughout his career, 2-1 this season. And we have a edge right now in the dollars versus bets department of at least 15%. So that number could change throughout the week, but the other two trends are not going to change. It's always scary to back a big favorite, but I still think this Jacksonville team is hot garbage. I know Luton played okay last week, but that was against Houston, who is also hot garbage. I think that the Packers just blow their doors off this week, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that makes the most logical sense. But road underdogs are killing it this year, and that's a lot of points. Joe, can I not convince you to even play an over with me here?
Maybe. I think that everything that LaMarca said is definitely valid. If you just look, I guess, a little bit deeper into some of the, recent double-digit spreads, Packers are 1-5 against the spread in their past 6 games when they were double-digit favorites. So in 2019, if you go back that far, Packers were favored by 13 or more 2 times, and they were 0-2 against the spread in those games. But they did win both of those games, obviously. So it's not that I don't think that the Packers are going to win this game. I do. That's just a lot of points. It's a lot of points to lay for this Packers team. I get it. This is the Jaguars. They're not very good, but they're also not the Jets. So I think that I am on the Jaguars side of this one with that spread.
Let's go. Let's party. We're going to really regret this come Monday. But for now, let's have some fun. All right, Houston and Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland. Looks like Baker Mayfield, who is currently, as we speak, on the COVID list, along with our own Joe Holka, is probably going to be able to practice on Wednesday, given that he didn't actually test positive and he just was a close contact. So we're expecting Baker Mayfield in this game. Not sure if that's a good or a bad thing for Cleveland, but Cleveland are 3-point favorites with a big fat 53-point total in this one. Joe, Are you backing the Browns here? You backing the Browns at home to cover by a field goal?
The Browns just feel like a team you don't want to bet on right now, right? Like 3 straight games without covering the spread, 3-8 over their last 11 games against the spread. I guess like on the other side of it though, like I'm conflicted on this one because the Texans are 1-7 against the spread on the season also, which is one of the worst in the league, if not the worst. I bet the Jets are very similar to that.
They're up to two covers, baby.
Okay,
Cowboys
there
are the worst. Did the Cowboys cover this past week? I guess they would have, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a massive line. That was their first cover of the year.
God, that's insane. So yeah, this game scares me a little bit overall. You should be. I mean, and like just looking at this, like it looks like the Browns are being a little bit disrespected with just 2.5 points. But I guess we'll have to see what happened with Baker. These ones are so hard when we don't know what's going on with the quarterbacks, right?
Yeah, no, it looks. I mean, I would venture to say that Baker's going to play, and I don't think that the market has really been affected by him being currently on the COVID list. It seems like everybody's expecting him to play and miss, one half of a practice. Like, what is he really missing here? A Monday walkthrough? I mean, they don't do anything on Tuesday typically, or in reverse. I don't know how they do it in Cleveland, but you really don't get onto the field until Wednesday. And expectation, according to ESPN, is that he'll be around for Wednesday's practice. So we'll see if that comes to pass. That might change the line moving forward. Maddie, how do you feel about this total? It started at 55.5 and dropped down now to 53.5. They're clearly expecting a shootout. Is there any reason to believe that might not happen?
I think if Cleveland has their way, they'll grind this game down a little bit. I mean, Nick Chubb supposed to be back in the lineup this week. He's practicing with the team. That is obviously a huge plus for them. Kareem Hunt is a good running back, but they were much better when he was sort of a complementary type piece to Chubb's, between the tackles grinding. So Houston can't stop the run. They're 27th in rush defense DVOA right now. So I think if Cleveland has their way, they will slow this game down. Mm-hmm. The interesting trends here is we've got Cleveland coming off of the bye. I already mentioned, the favorites off of the bye trend.
Right.
And to go with your thing that you've been monitoring here, Dieter, road underdogs. You've mentioned they've been very good this season.
Yeah.
I have this weird road dogs of 3 points or less trend.
Oh, I love it. I love it so
this
much.
This season,
with it, baby.
19-6.
Let's go. Let's go.
I'm just a little bit confused as to why this spread is only 3 points. I mean, I know Cleveland hasn't been great this year, but this line is basically saying that they're the same as Houston on a neutral field. And I don't know if I agree with that. So I'm going to have to dig into this one a little bit further. My initial thought is that Cleveland should control this game on the ground.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
It sounds like an underplay there. It seems like if Cleveland has its way, we're not getting to 53.5.
Yeah, I mean, and if the line was still at 55.5, I would feel better about it. Right. Betting unders in 2020 is just not fun. The Jets and the Patriots combined for like 60 points last night. Like any two teams can score 60 any week.
What a sad world we live in. All right, we're not going to talk about Washington and Detroit because we don't have a line yet. We're just not going to do it. Probably shouldn't have mentioned it, but here we are. Let's talk about Justin Herbert, who can't seem to catch a break, and Tua, who is just resplendent. So we have two extremely opposite trends here. Everyone's buying in on Matty LaMarca and myself's Miami Dolphins. Everybody wants to sell the Chargers because the Chargers can't seem to win a game. And now in Miami, so big travel for LA, the Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites with a 48-point total. Joe, are you buying in on Tua? Or is this a little too rich for your blood? Because one good game against the Cardinals does not beget a quarterback.
We've seen it a lot of times, though, like a defense that is as good as Miami's is just takes a lot of pressure off of the quarterback on the other side of the ball. So I do like that. It's nice to see Tua come out and play well. Obviously, his first start was just such a suboptimal situation against Ramsey and Donald that you kind of just throw that one out a little bit. The other side of this game, super interesting also. Like, just say what you want about Justin Herbert, like this just elite rookie passer so far this year, but he's somehow just 1-6 as a starter. That's crazy to me, just because of how well he's played. Probably deserves better for sure. This Chargers defense, it just looks kind of lost against the run. They look lost against the pass right now. So yeah, I mean, I like some of the weapons for the Dolphins. Obviously, Tua coming on a little bit is positive. I think that he gets a little bit more help on the other side of this game, while Herbert's just going to have to keep trying to make these big plays, and there's going to come mistakes from that from a rookie quarterback. So I think I'm on the Dolphins here, but I hope that we get a little bit more help for Justin Herbert on the other side here soon.
What you were referring to there is called the Anthony Lynn effect, and it's the inability to actually take advantage of any positive thing that's happening and turn it into a negative thing almost automatically, and then just allow the negative things to wallow. I liked Anthony Lynn when he first got there. It's clear that he can't manage a game. And when you're not the coordinator of either offense or defense and you can't manage a game, I'm not quite sure what it is you do here. So he's gone at the end of the year. I don't think there's a single doubt about that. And frankly, it might be sooner. But you're totally right on the defense, too. I had to watch the entirety of that Raiders-Chargers game because I'm a masochist. And, geez, I mean, it's just without Bosa, they just have they have nothing. Their linebackers are slow. Their secondary is meh, and their line just gets pushed around without Bosa. And in adding him, I don't even think changes the calculus that much. Maddie, what kind of trends do we have on this game? I know that our long-term play of Dolphins, best team in the AFC East, is looking real tasty right now. But what kind of trends are we looking at when we're talking about just Week 10 Chargers and Dolphins?
Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything popping at the moment in the trends database. I do think that the Chargers are just such an interesting team.
No doubt.
They outgained the Raiders by 120 yards last week. They didn't lose the turnover battle. Like, how did they not win this game? I just
they didn't lose the
understand
turnover battle, but they did have a critical turnover, right? Like they lost they lost a punt. Like they did not return a punt accurately. And frankly, they won the game, but no. Anthony Lynn is the reason. We can get into the nitty-gritty details, but Anthony Lynn is the reason. I mean, I don't know what the hell was going on in the final 2 minutes there, but it wasn't good.
And on the other side, it just humors me how easy it is to change the mind of the public.
So easy.
Oh, we've got Tua. We've got to see what we've got. We might draft another quarterback in the top. And now it's like the guy had one good game, and it's like, all right, would you rather
Against
have
the Cardinals,
Tua, Joey Burrow, or Justin Herbert? Tell me why it's Tua. I'll hang up and listen, Mike. Like, it is just, it's just comical to me. Nothing has changed about this team. I look at this line. It's 2.5. That says that the Dolphins and the Chargers are the same team, from a Vegas perspective. I don't agree with that. I think the Dolphins are better. It does scare me that the public is waking up about the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins a lot more when I was getting them as a contrarian play against the Rams, as a contrarian play against the Cardinals. This week, they are going to be a chalky public team. So that does concern me a bit, but I still think that this line is a little bit disrespectful towards Miami.
It does look like Joey Bosa is going to come back, so that might change it.
Yeah.
I'm with you here, LaMarca. I think our salad days are over on betting Dolphins. I would not be shocked to see Tua not exactly thrive in this game, just on principle. I don't think there's anything the Chargers are going to do in particular, but just like there's going to be ups and downs. In his first game, he wasn't asked to do anything, so I don't know if he was good or not. Second game, balls out. But he's playing the Cardinals. It's a shootout kind of game in the Wild West. It's a credit to him for pulling through and being able to do what he needed to do. It was a great performance, but I would expect maybe a little bit of regression here. I just feel like 2.5 that's a danger zone line to me. What I do like though is a over in this game. 48-point total. I kind of like the over in that one, but I'm going to keep an eye on this one throughout the week. This one's peculiar for all the reasons you just listed out there, Maddie. Like, this one's just a little too strange for me to feel comfortable with. Buffalo and Arizona. This is a dandy. This is a really good one. Josh Allen back, back on the saddle a little bit here. He's playing better football now. He looks like he's got his act together. Gets to play Arizona, so you know that he's going to have his act together against them. And Kyler's just been balling out. It's going to be in the Wild West. Get this on the total. It started at 49. I don't know who set that line.
What a disastrous initial line.
I mean, what are we doing? It was set at 49. It's gone up a touchdown. It's gone up a touchdown.
Put the house on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of people have.
A lot of people put multiple houses on it, and that's why I moved the touchdown, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Exactly. 7-point swing since the consensus open per Sports Insights. I don't, that might have been like in, last November. That's the only way it makes any damn sense. And even then, 2.5 points it opened for the Cardinals. We're at 1.5 now, 2 in some places. Maddie, what do you think about Buffalo and Arizona other than this is going to be fun?
Yeah, I still think this line is probably too low. Josh Allen, you mentioned he was struggling. There is no better medicine for a struggling quarterback right now than playing against Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Not only, does their defense stink, but you gotta put up a bunch of points or else the Seattle offense is going to win the game.
No doubt.
So Seattle gifted the Bills 4 turnovers in that contest. They lost 2 fumbles and Wilson threw 2 picks. So I don't know if Buffalo's performance was necessarily as impressive as the final score indicates. Mm-hmm. If you win the turnover battle 4-0, I would imagine you're winning most games by more than 10 points.
Yeah, one would hope.
So Arizona, I've been lukewarm on them. Clearly, Kyler Murray is very, very good at football. Ooh. He's doing things with his arm. He's doing things with his legs. He just doesn't have any help, really. I think that this is a game where I just want to take the over. That's really my early initial lean is just that this is going to be a buttload of points being scored.
How high would you go? I mean, we've already seen a touchdown added to this bad boy. One, do you think it can get to 60? And 2, would you take it at 60?
I don't think it'll get to 60. If it got that high, I'm pretty sure the sharps would push back a little bit, but
for sure.
Early betting numbers, 69% of the bets have been on the over, but 95% of the money has been on the over.
That's how you add a touchdown.
Yep. So we should be somewhat careful, I think, if this gets to the 58 range. We have seen that it is tough historically for totals of greater than 55 to hit. But I do think that these two teams, with the way that they play offense and the way that they play defense, this is a scenario where I feel comfortable saying that a lot of points are going to be scored.
Joe, talk me through your feelings here. This is a big game for your Cardinals.
It is, yeah. I try and just stay as impartial as possible throughout these situations. But my Kyler Murray jersey is in the mail. When you get Corona, you're allowed to buy yourself something, I was told by my girlfriend. So I will be purchasing a Kyler Murray jersey. This guy is so fun to watch. So I'm excited to watch this game for sure. Obviously, if that was the starting over-under, the opening over-under, that is... I don't even know what to say to that. I wish I would have seen
fired bookmaker.
Yeah, exactly. That's like something that like puts books out of business like very quickly, like some of the smaller books if they make that kind of mistake. So that's interesting. I'm with LaMarca in terms of like I love Josh Allen, but it's almost like we kind of throw out that Rams game for Tua because it's just such a bad matchup. Like I don't know if we completely throw out these Seattle games, but I don't know if that just fixes the problems that were happening on this offense either. It's a good matchup again. The Cardinals, like they don't have a great defense. We know that. They'll keep the pace up, all those good things. I think there's a chance that Allen could have some success with big plays in this one. I think there's going to be definitely scoring on both sides of it. But like I just want to be over on Arizona all week because I'm just going to hear it from Leone if I don't. So I'm taking the Cardinals on this one just based on my fandom alone. But I will hopefully have my Kyler jersey in possession before this game starts.
I mean, the question is, who do you trust more? Neither of these defenses seem to be any good. So who do you trust more, Kyler Murray or Josh Allen? And I think for a lot of people, they would knee-jerk reaction and say it's Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray's the truth, man. But man, Murray does make a lot of really bad decisions sometimes. I mean, what he giveth, he also taketh away with just mind-boggling interceptions. And if Allen can play a clean game, it's on. But that's an equally precarious thing to bet on. So play the over, have some fun. I wouldn't bet on either of these guys to play a clean game. So it's gonna get real funky in the desert, and I'm down for it. All right, Drew Lock, Derek Carr. This is Denver and Las Vegas. The Raiders open as 4-point favorites. It's moved to 5 in some places, 5.5 on FanDuel New Jersey. We'll see on that one. 51, 52. I see 51.5 in some places on the total. Let's start with you, Joe. Are you buying the Raiders as like a legit good team? They're 5-3. They've, I think, have the strongest strength of schedule of any, or strongest strength of victory of any playoff team. Pretty good win over the Chargers in LA. Not that there's like a home field advantage or anything, and probably would have worked out for the Raiders had there actually been fans in the crowd, but nevertheless, are we buying the Raiders?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this Raiders team. It's so weird because it doesn't seem like they should have the talent to have the record that they do. Like 5-3, like in this division, is still really solid. And I don't know. I think this is one where I kind of just had to look into it a little bit deeper on the Broncos side, because I think that's probably what matters a little bit more. Broncos 7-3 against the spread. Their past 10 road games, which I thought was kind of interesting. But also the Raiders, like they haven't really done very well as a favorite either. So over their last 10 games when they were favored by 3 points or more, 2-7-1 against the spread. So I don't know. It's not that I don't believe in the Raiders. I just think that the Broncos are kind of sneaky here and maybe a little bit underrated.
What are you thinking about this, Maddie?
I kind of think the Broncos stink. Now, granted, they played last week without like their entire defense. You know, they had 2 cornerbacks
that would
down.
seem important.
So the injury report will matter a bit here, but this team was losing 27-6 to the Falcons before they kind of put some drives together in garbage time.
You mean before Atlanta started to falcon it?
Drew Lock ended up getting there for his fantasy owners, but he was pretty miserable through the first 3 quarters of this game. Yeah. And if you can't find success against the Falcons,
what are we doing here?
I don't know. That's a pretty big red flag in my opinion. So it's not that I'm saying that I want to buy the Raiders, but I might just be selling the Broncos. So we'll see if they get back and, AJ Bouye is healthy and Bryce Callahan is healthy. Maybe that changes some things. But as things stand right now, I could not imagine myself placing a wager on Denver.
Here's the thing, though. The Raiders' defense is so bad.
Worse than the Falcons?
It's worse than the Falcons. I'm telling you, flat out, it is really bad. No rush. Linebackers cannot play in pass coverage. They just drop into quarters on every single snap. It's just way too easy to beat them. Any offensive coordinator who knows basic stuff is just going to be like, guess what? We're running the same damn routes every time until they stop it, and they won't be able to stop it. I think I'm buying the Denver Broncos here. I agree with everything you said, LaMarca. They're doo-doo. They're not good. I think the Raiders are about to get exposed. I like the offense. It's a one-trick pony, though. They can block in the run game. Josh Jacobs is pretty awesome. But, man, that defense is really bad. And they need to get got at some point for being that bad. So I think I'm in on Denver on this one, just on principle of this feels like a letdown game for the Raiders who might be feeling themselves a little bit. All right. San Francisco, New Orleans. This is a bad football game. First off, New Orleans going out and proving my secret trash theory to be, well, trash, overt trash. It's a bad theory. They're pretty good. They're now 9.5, 10-point favorites. This line has already jumped up nearly a field goal since it opened up. They started as 7-point favorites, at least in MGM. I think they sent me an email saying it was a 7-point game, and I said, that's getting up to 9, and it's already 9.5. So here we are. Nick Mullins is bad at quarterback, and the Saints seem to have something going, and they're at home. So the total on this game is 50. How do you feel about it, Matt?
Yeah, I'm always hesitant to quote unquote buy high on a team.
Right.
And that feels like what we're doing here with the Saints. Like last week was clearly a good spot to target them, getting Michael Thomas back. The Sharps took that line. They dropped it from 4.5 to just 3 before kickoff, and they were rewarded with a W. Now we've got to pay the premium if we want to back the Saints. For what it's worth, the early bets have been all New Orleans. 93% of the dollars have landed on New Orleans. But now that this line has been driven up, I'm just not sure if I want to back them as, essentially double-digit favorites. That's what we're getting to. So I'm not, at the same time, no way in hell am I putting real American dollars on Nicky Two Sticks, Nick Mullins, but I think that it's good principle to be wary of targeting teams when they're at their highest value. And that's what we're doing with New Orleans.
How do you feel about it, Joe? Because I can see a situation where the 49ers cover. That's what the conversation we're having about the 49ers this year, by the way. Can they cover 9.5? I can see that going down. They're getting some guys back. I think Debo's back. That matters for that team.
Yeah, a little bit of offensive help, at least at wide receiver. Just like on the other side of it, just obvious, this pass rush just isn't the same without Nick Bosa. I think that's still like if this is not a good matchup for a team that has so many issues in coverage, both in the secondary. Their linebackers are banged up, obviously. So to me, I just think Drew Brees is going to sit back, keep spreading the ball around like he always does. And in this spot, I'm with you, LaMarca. It feels bad to be back on the Saints after what they just did in prime time. I just don't have any real case, I guess, for the 49ers in this spot. I guess if the line gets too much further in the Saints direction, maybe. But I think I still want to be on the Saints side. But maybe it's just a fish play overall, and I should avoid it. These are ones that I struggle with.
I could give you a trend for the 49ers if you'd like.
Oh, boy.
So they are coming off of the mini bye after getting demolished by the Packers. So
oh my God.
When you take an underdog with 10 days off against an opponent with normal rest, as long as the underdog is getting less than 50% of the betting tickets, which I think it's pretty safe to say San Francisco will qualify for that trend.
No doubt.
Those underdogs with the rest advantage, 49, 36, and 1 against the spread.
And how many of those teams had Nick Mullins as their quarterback?
I mean, can't add in the Nicky Mullins trend, but probably none would be my guess.
Yeah. New Orleans' defense has figured something out. They absolutely ruined Tom Brady's existence with pass rush pressure. What the hell are they going to do to Nick Mullins? I mean, the 49ers are going to have to run the ball on every single damn down. They can't throw it. Not with Mullins, not with this pass protection. They get Trent Williams back. That matters. But I can see them covering. I'm staying away from this game. I'm just running away. Opposite direction. The way I play Halo. Just run away. I can't do it with the other stick. It's not great. All right. Seattle coming off of a loss, going to LA. They're going to play the Rams. Good NFC West showdown. And get this, the Rams are favored. Rams are favored by 1.5 points, 2 points in some places. The disrespect to the MVP coming off of a loss to a solid, if not good, Buffalo team. Just unbelievable. And this is a great opportunity to play a road dog. Is it not, Joe Holka?
I have such a hard time betting against Russell Wilson right now, regardless of any of this. There's still I don't have a lot of respect for what Sean McVay has been doing over the last little while. We thought of him as this truly progressive, new age coach, and he just continues to be a donkey in the very simple aspects of football at times. So I think that's interesting. I think this game's really interesting for fantasy, obviously. We haven't had the Rams on the main slate in a while. Guys like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp still in the top 25 in weighted opportunities. So I'll be looking at those guys in DFS. I think that one thing that we talked about a little bit last week on some of the shows is everyone's like, yep, Tyler Lockett week. That's where you target Buffalo. You play the slot receiver. You play these guys that can play underneath. But people don't even realize that, bad matchup cornerback wise for DK Metcalf. Like, don't care. Bad matchup for the cornerback if you're against DK Metcalf is what we should have been talking about. So
Yes.
this guy is the truth. He's someone that we're going to be talking about for years as one of the top guys in the NFL, in my opinion. He's just made so many strides. So I definitely want to be on the Seahawks side of this one, even on the road. These road favorites, I don't know. Maybe that's not a spot where we want to be. I think Russell Wilson will be able to kind of get away from the pressure in this one, and I do think it's an exciting one for fantasy, but it is close. I'll be with Seattle though.
Maddie, what kind of trends you got for me?
Yeah, I think that Seattle, we've been saying that these Seattle spreads for a while have been weird. You know, like you look
It's
at the game
Seattle.
against Arizona, you look at the game against Buffalo, and it just felt like Seattle wasn't being respected by Vegas. And I think we're starting to see why. And it's because Seattle isn't all that good. I had hopes for them last week that getting Jamal Adams back, that adding in Carlos Dunlap would help their defense. Didn't seem to make any difference. Now, granted, the offense didn't do them any favors by turning the ball over 4 times.
That's what I
But I do think that this might be a spot to target the Rams. They're coming off of the bye. Seattle is going to be getting the public attention. So far, 60% of the bets have landed on Seattle, so not overwhelming public action on that side, but the Rams do have the slight edge in terms of betting dollars. So I think that overall, that the Rams might be the play here. I just don't see Seattle stopping anyone at this point. If Buffalo can find success, now granted, Buffalo is probably a better offensive team than the Rams at this point, but why can't Jared Goff and the Rams put up 35 plus points at home? They, Goff historically has been a pretty drastic home road splits type of guy.
No doubt.
And he, he's capable of scoring points at home. And I do think that Seattle will struggle a bit offensively compared to what they have done for most of the season. The Rams are a very good pass defense. So if Seattle can't get to 40 in this game, they probably are going to lose because their defense just has shown no signs of being able to stop anyone at this point.
Sounds like you're playing an over.
Yeah, I mean the over definitely makes sense to me, but I think the Rams are just my preferred bet here.
Fair enough. All right. I'm not betting against Russell Wilson. Just not doing it, but
fair.
That's me. That's something for me to work through personally. Please respect my wishes at this time. All right. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow versus Pittsburgh, and to be determined. Ben Roethlisberger hits the COVID list today, and I haven't seen a line change here, so I guess it can't be that serious. I'd probably stay away just on principle until later in the week until you can figure out who the hell's a quarterback. We saw what Pittsburgh did with backups last year. Not great, not awesome. But right now, Pittsburgh is a touchdown favorite at home to old Joey Burrow. And James McCool, who joined us on Sunday, brought up something that I had never heard before and then proved to be wildly accurate in the immediate aftermath. Mike Tomlin, emotional coach, just a guy who plays up or plays down to the competition, and they're giving up a touchdown and a hook in some places this week. This seems like a great spot for Joey Burrow to cover. Who's with me? Anybody?
I might be with you, man. I might be with you. I think that I love the Steelers, but kind of what James was saying, one reason to bet against the Steelers is because they almost never cover these large point spreads. So the last 7 games where they've been favored by 9 or more points, Steelers are 0-7 against the spread, 6-1 straight up. They could still win this game, but like you said, they're going to play down to their competition. That includes last week against the Cowboys. Obviously, they didn't cover as a 15.5 point favorite in that win that they just had. So yeah, I think that this is. I think that Joe Burrow is the real deal. There's weapons there. He'll have to get the ball out of his hands very quickly, of course, against this pass rush. But I think this is a spot where just 9.5. I guess wherever book you're looking at, I think it's too much.
Where are you seeing 9.5?
I'm looking at 9.5 right now on just it's an aggregate together of a bunch of different ones. So maybe it's just not what you're looking at.
Absolutely take that 9.5.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
I'm like you. I'm not in Canada, so I can't literally bring up the live lines at blitzbet.eu. I got to look at some aggregate stuff while we're live.
I'll tell you what it is though. Whatever it's on blitzbet.eu is it's certain to be tantalizing. Just perfectly placed. Always the best. Maddie, talk to me about this game.
Yeah, so the fact that the Steelers struggle as big favorites is definitely something to consider here, but they are much worse in that situation when they are road favorites. So Roethlisberger has played 23 games during his career where he's been laying at least a touchdown on the road. He is 6-17 against the spread in those contests now when you factor in last week's game. So I brought that up in my betting breakdown. I didn't have the guts to actually take the Cowboys, but they just don't win games in that situation. Now that they're back at home, I feel a little bit more comfortable with this number, especially since it's only one touchdown as opposed to two. That said, I don't think I can actually put money on Pittsburgh right now, just given the uncertainty at quarterback. I will say that the public shares your guys' feelings. They like Cincinnati a lot. 60% of the betting tickets, 87% of the betting dollars. So it looks like even the sharps are on board with the Bengals at the current number. Now, maybe part of that is they just want to bet this ticket now with the uncertainty surrounding Roethlisberger and then reevaluate as the week goes on. Or maybe they just really like the Bengals. So this is a situation that I will be monitoring this week.
What number would it need to get down to for you to not have to take into account the Roethlisberger aspect?
I mean, if
if we didn't know, right?
If Roethlisberger doesn't play, I would take the Bengals at anything better than a field goal.
That sounds about right. That's where I was going. I was going to say 4, but that's fair. All right, let's talk about Baltimore. Let's talk about New England. The Pats, I mean, back to juggernaut status, right, guys? We all watch Monday Night Football.
Never a doubt.
What a performance. Baltimore are 7.5-point road favorites here with a 43-point total. How much can we hammer Baltimore? I'm legitimately wondering because I just can't see a circumstance where New England puts up a game here. I know that Bill Belichick we'll talk about Bill Belichick making Lamar Jackson throw and all this stuff, but I just don't think they have the dudes to execute it. So what are you thinking, Matt? I mean, how high can this number get?
I think this number is kind of fair where it's at. You know that I'm down on Baltimore. I don't.
Yeah, but more so than New England?
I mean, this number is saying that the Ravens are 10 points better than the Patriots on a neutral field. Like, it's hard to get much lower on New England than that.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
I think it's possible that last night's game was a look ahead spot.
Oh, looks like we might have lost Maddie.
Oh no.
Oh, he's back.
I had Maddie the whole time. My bad.
Sorry if I'm still here.
Maddie, you're still here.
Maddie, you were looking ahead a little bit to when the show was over, and we need you for 2 more games.
I just think that Baltimore, if they're going to continue to be treated as one of the better teams in the league, and that's what this line is doing, I think that's too high of a praise for this team at the moment.
Okay. Joe, what do you expect from Lamar Jackson this upcoming week?
Man, I am like broken down from this Lamar Jackson play because I'm just like baited into it in DFS every single week. And last week he's 6,900. We haven't seen him priced like that since week 7 of last year. So I was all over that. I was back on Mark Andrews. So you guys know how that went with my Lamar team last week. So I'm a little bit broken down overall. So I definitely have some biases here. Like, we know that Lamar's been struggling to pass. Like, he's not getting a lot of help from the running game in general anyways. But like, the thing that I kind of come back to for this specific matchup is I remember in the offseason, the Patriots were talking about how they drafted, but they also like kind of rebuilt this defense to like try and better contain running quarterbacks. I'm not saying they're going to achieve that or they have achieved that so far this year, but I guess there is some concerns there. I don't know. This is one that like, I don't know what to do with the Ravens now. If I'm jumping off the train a week too early, then that's on me. I just don't know if I can do it anymore, man. Like I've been just hammering these guys at like sub 5% in DFS and just getting buried for it.
Is there anything you saw out of New England last night, though, that gives you confidence that, hey, they can?
I didn't watch that game. Are you kidding me?
Okay, listen, man, I don't know. I figured it's our profession. I gave it a couple of minutes. How about Maddie? You're wearing a Jets shirt. You clearly watched that game, right?
That's right, baby. Jets got the job done. Secured the L. It looked like they were going to try and win it.
Never in doubt. Never in doubt.
The positives that I saw, I mean, Cam Newton kind of looks weird still throwing the ball to me, but he was efficient, 27 for 35, just peppering Jacoby Myers with targets. Is Jacoby Myers somebody that's going to go away when Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry come back? Because he probably shouldn't. He looks the part.
He's pretty good.
Yep.
Seemed pretty good.
And he can play on the outside. He's been splitting his snaps between the slot and outside. So I think that those are some positives you could take away. I mean, Damian Harris had another pretty good game running the football, 14 for 71. I'm still not sure why Rex Burkhead had 12 carries last night, but so be it.
Yeah, you got to establish some toughness.
Yeah, the Patriots put up 433 yards of offense last week. That's
last night. Yeah,
that's a good number. That's a very good number. Granted, it is the Jets. You take everything that happens against the Jets with a grain of salt. But the biggest concern with the Patriots has been their offense, and they looked better last night. Their defense still isn't great, but if their offense is going to play like they were last night and like they did at the beginning of the year, you at least have some confidence that they can put up enough points to cover.
43-point total. Does that reek of peculiarity to anybody here? It feels like an overplay, right?
It feels about right to me because I don't think Baltimore is going to score a ton of points either. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game.
All righty.
All right.
Let's see what Bill's got in store because, boy, I think it might have just been a Jets mirage. That's what I think might have happened last night. All right, final game. Oh, this is not what you want to see on Monday Night Football. Minnesota and Chicago. The Bears are bad. They're just bad. The defense is good and their offense is just egregious. Somehow they opened up as a 2-point favorite. That bad boy's flipped, and it flipped fast. They are now 2.5-point home underdogs with a 45-point total. Joe, what can you make of a contest this depressing?
Yeah, the Vikings have looked pretty good over the last couple of weeks, obviously on the shoulders of what Dalvin Cook's been able to do. So if you didn't have him in DFS, my condolences last week. I did and still lost money if it makes me feel any better about last week. I guess talking about we just got through my Lamar week, so good stuff there. Overall, though, like this is a team that really struggles against the Bears. So the Vikings have lost 4 straight games to this team, 1-5 against their spread in the last 6 meetings between these two teams. So the Bears are a home underdog in this game, so I actually kind of like that a little bit. 14-4-1 against their spread in the last 19 games as a home dog. So just looking at the hashtag data, I think I'm on the Bears here.
Let's go. What do you got, Maddie?
Yeah, to me, this is another spot where if you're targeting the Vikings here, you are buying high on them. And I love the fact that we can grab the Bears as a home underdog here. I'm not digging so much into the historical trends like Joe did, just because Nick Foles wasn't the quarterback for most of those games. True. But I think that Foles getting 2.5 here against the Vikings just is not correct. This line is saying that the Vikings are 5 points better than the Bears on a neutral field. That doesn't feel right to me. You can make a case that the Vikings are the better team overall, but 5 points, that's too many.
Yeah.
So anytime that we get a line move like this, the advanced line was -2. Now it's 2.5 in the other direction. I'm almost always going to target the team that is quote unquote benefiting from the additional value. So let's also point out that in that last game, Matt Stafford didn't play the whole thing for the Lions. And as good as Dalvin Cook was, he ripped off a 70-yard touchdown run while the Lions had only 10 men on the field. So The Bears are better defensively. I'm hoping that they will remember that they are allowed to play 11 guys on defense, and that
Oh,
should
boy.
slow Dalvin Cook down a little bit.
Might help.
Just a bit. Just a bit. Guys, this is going to be a good weekend. I'm feeling good about it. I'm liking where we're starting on Thursday. I might not like the ending, but we got a whole bunch of tasty morsels in between. It's going to be a blast. Maddie, tell the folks where they can find you between now and Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I'm going to be, as always, my big betting preview will go up Thursday morning. Then I will be live with Pete and Joe at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We usually start our stream, lead you right into kickoff on the Thursday night football game. Last week it was just me and Pete, so we missed you, Joe. We'll be happy to have you back. Less
got
shots
too
for
weird
me to
for
get
you.
up. I'm always happy when I get to talk more, so it was okay for 1 week, but we need you long term. So.
You guys did great, man. Yeah, back to the grind for me. Missed a couple shows last week. Happy to be feeling a little bit better. I'll be back live on the Joe Holka Show, obviously Mondays and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time, but also Sunday morning at 9 a.m. directly before our kickoff show. So we got that. Obviously, the Thursday show we were just talking about before Thursday Night Football. What else we got going on? Tilt Space, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, a lot of afternoon games to talk about, so that'll be a lot of fun. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. It's busy times, man. It's week 10, though. We're about halfway home.
We're having so much fun doing it, too. All right, everybody. Be safe out there. Don't be like Joe. Don't get the Rona.